Greetings, Titans. Have you ever had a job interview stress you out? Does the prospect of the process leave you mildly terrified? Well, back in January of 2020, JDP, an employee background checking service, conducted a survey, and of the 2018 people they surveyed, a whopping 93% said they know exactly how you feel. Hi, I'm Graham Myers, and for the better part of the last 20 years, I've done quite a bit of interviewing for my current company. I've had my successes and I've had my failures, and I've learned from them both. I'd like to share with you a little bit about what I've learned along the way and hopefully teach a few basic concepts that whether or not you're interviewing for your forever career or for your right now job, handling the interview process will be well within your capabilities. Now, this is a broad-based topic with lots of information, so I specifically want to talk about how anything or everything can be a part of the job hiring process, how, believe it or not, you actually have the easy part, and I'm going to touch on a few specific key points from an article posted on the career building website Indeed.com entitled 21 Interviewing Tips How to Make a Great Impression. But first, let me talk about what I mean when I say that anything or everything can be part of the interviewing process. In my current profession, the average employee has to do quite a bit of moving and sure-footedly walking through semi-chaotic environment. So we'll actually do things in the interview process to mark and measure how well the interviewee does those very things. I've had to hire individuals that will be doing some marketing work. So I will actually have them sit amongst customers and other people just to see how they interact, if they interact, as that's going to be a part of their job duties should we decide to hire them. And in an article posted back in November of 2018 by Jennifer Spencer, the CEO of Emergent Media, she makes it entitled How Companies Analyze Social Media in the Hiring Process. She makes the claim that up to 70% of companies these days are using that as a part of whether or not they hire an individual. Now, while that can be somewhat daunting, somewhat disturbing, as I mentioned, the good news during the interview process is you actually have the easy part. In the hiring process, it's actually taking nearly $4,000 to fill a position, and that's just the hiring part. And then they'll spend an average of $1,286 in training that employee. And this is a process that can take up to 6 months before the employee reaches what's called the BEP, or the break-even point. And that's the point where an employee stops actually costing the company money. Now, they're not making any money for the company. They're actually but they're just not costing anything. So, as you can imagine, a few bad hires can cost someone their position because we're talking about quite a bit of money. So actually the pressure is on the interviewer, not the interviewee. Now we're going to do things to distract you from this point. We're going to have our big desks and we're going to have our cups of coffee and our stacks of other applicants. But again, it's all there just to distract you from the fact that we actually have the real pressure in the situation. And I'm sure you're wondering, what can I do to set myself apart from the other applicants on that desk? And that's what I'm going to talk about the article on Indeed.com. And it really can be summed up into two different categories: being prepared and professionalism. Make sure that you know that this company and the job that you're interviewing for is something that you actually are willing to do, that it's going to be something that you actually want to do. Because this is a two-way street. It's going to have to work out for both the company and the employee. So take the time to check the company out. Make sure have someone interview questions with you, someone you trust to get practice. Make sure that you bring documentation of what you've done with you to the interview. And make sure that you have some questions to talk to the interviewer about, as we do pay attention to who does the most talking. And as far as professionalism goes, I don't mean suit and tie. That may not match the culture of the company that you're wanting to work with. But I do mean making sure that you take the time to plan your attire, making sure that you plan time to be there 10 to 15 minutes in advance. Make sure that anybody you come in contact with during the interview, you treat respectfully and with openness, that you're being honest with the answers that you give, and that you're making sure that you're bringing the integrity to this situation as well. As these are people you're going to have to work with, and they're going to want to work with you for quite some time, and they need to know that they can get along with you. Now, I do hope that some of the things that I've shared today about how when you walk into the building, be prepared that they're watching you, that you actually, as far as confidence goes, you have the easy part. They're the ones that really have a lot on their shoulders. And that some of the things that we've talked about as far as being professional and being prepared will give you the confidence the next time that it's your turn to interview for your next career, whether it be your forever, as I mentioned, or for right now. So take this opportunity, build some confidence, and go out there and make sure that you sell yourself, that you bring the integrity to these points, as that will be what makes them work the best. I would like to take a quick second, and as a side note, in the article that I mentioned from Indeed.com, it talks about not talking negatively about your previous employer. I'm going to stress that if you do, that's going to tell the interviewer more than you probably want them to know. So make sure that you're very careful with that. But with that last note, go out there, happy job hunting, and knock them dead. Thank you.